There we go. Okay. Welcome, you guys. I'm so excited to have a little chat with everybody. I got my headphones on, so in case there's like a kid screaming or something, you don't pick it up. But Kaylee and I are going to chat with you tonight. Super casual. She's going to tell her story, her weight loss transformation, her coaching success story. I'll share mine, and then we'll have a little invitation for you at the end. So just really quick, Kaylee and I met as very, very little kids. And so my parents are divorced, and when I would go visit my dad, Kaylee was there. Her mother worked with my dad. And we just clicked, you always have those little childhood friends that you always remember. And Kaylee was that for me, but I didn't get to see her very often because she did live several hours away from me when I lived with my mom. But it was always something to look forward to when I went to visit my dad. Well, anyway, growing up, you lose touch. And luckily, we connected on Facebook, thanks to social media these days. And we actually have the same wedding anniversary, the exact same day we got married, which is really cool. And when I was getting ready for my wedding, I did Turbo Fire and I had lost some weight, and I started with coaching. And Kaylee noticed what I was doing, and so she, thanks again to health and fitness, we had reconnected. And so she's going to tell her story. And let me go to her slide here real quick. So, Kaylee, do you want to tell your story about how you got started with health and fitness?
Absolutely. So, let me preface this by saying that my entire life, up until the point that I found Beachbody, I was overweight or obese, take your pick, depending on the time. So I was one of those quintessential people who did the yo-yo diets, some sort of a fad diet that I would try for, let's say, 2 weeks or 4 weeks, and then something would get me off track and I just would stop. And the little amount of weight that I had lost, I would put back on plus some. And so I had done like low carb, no carb. I had tried a couple of different things, or many things throughout the course of the years when I was in high school or college or even grad school. And so I think at my biggest, I was probably about 250 pounds. So the last time that I had actively started trying to lose weight was about 3 months before my wedding. Like Stephanie said, we have the same wedding anniversary to the day. And so I had pretty much put myself on the caveman diet, like no carbs whatsoever. The only carbs I was intaking was from fruit, and I was doing lower carb fruits. But what was it? I set it for a goal, right? A goal date. So my wedding. And, for those of you who know me, you know that about 3 months before my wedding, I lost my baby sister, who was a teenager at the time. And so that really, after my wedding, I didn't really care about anything. I truly didn't. I was pretty much miserable mentally, physically, especially after losing her. And it was just one of those things that was when I had got to be at my biggest weight. So about 250 pounds, to put it in perspective, I'm about 5'6". I was a size 18 or 20, and nothing ever worked for me, right? I'm one of those people that I tried everything, nothing had ever worked. And then one day, like Stephanie said, I kind of followed her journey for a long time. And I had reached out to her and I said, what is this that you're doing? I'm interested. And she asked me what my goals were, and I did not respond for like 6 months. Literally, I just shut it down. I was like, okay, what, she wants to know my goals. Well, let's see. I don't even know what my goals really are. And so I didn't respond. And then about 6 months after that, so which would have been the last day of July of 2015, I decided that enough was enough. At that time, my husband had actually just ordered Hydroxycut because he wanted to lose weight. And I decided he was not going to lose weight without me, but I was going to do it the right way. And I was going to do it the healthy way. And so I reached back out to Stephanie. I asked her a million questions. And then that night, about 2 hours before a sale expired, I decided to order my challenge pack. And I started with the 21-day fix program because it was easy, right? A simplified nutrition program. The workouts were not easy, but a simplified nutrition program that was based on portion control, where I could still eat the things that I love to eat. I could make my own healthy pizzas, make my own healthy tacos, and workouts were only 30 minutes a day. And so I started with that program. And in that first 21 days, I lost about 17 pounds. And then at about 3 months in, I had lost about 30 pounds. And so I decided, at that I was going to keep going. And since then, the last 26, 27 months, I've completed, I don't even know how many programs, and I've just kind of kept trucking along ever since day one. I go through, I try a new one, I repeat an old one. And just, that was the only thing that worked for me. So to date, I've gone from an 18 or a 20 down to a size 8 or 10, depending on the pant size, because as we know, women's pants never fit the same. And I've gone from about 240 pounds when I started, 250 at my heaviest, down to my lowest before building some muscle was about 164 pounds. So 75, 80 pounds and still trucking along. So that's kind of in a nutshell, the fitness portion of my story. I'm no different than any of you guys. I've tried everything under the sun that I thought could work, that was healthy. And I finally found something that just worked, and I stuck with it.
Amazing. Okay. I have to ask you, when you thought about being a coach and helping other people and paying it forward, what were you most afraid of or most hesitant about?
I would say at first, my biggest hesitation was that I was not at my goal weight, right? I had lost 30 pounds at the point that I started coaching. I was still, when I started, like 210 pounds, something like that. So that was something I think initially that I feared, but I think my biggest fear was just people judging me, my friends and my family judging me, thinking that I was just trying to sell products, or thinking that I was just going to push sales on them, which is by no means what I wanted, right? Like what I wanted, my whole goal in paying it forward. Like, let's be real. When I first signed up as a coach, I did it strictly for the discount on Shakeology because I love that stuff. It keeps me sane. And then it took me about 3 weeks to just realize, if these products and programs and workouts are working for me, who's tried everything, and they're giving me my life back, that's something that I wanted to be able to pay forward. And so ultimately I just decided I didn't really care if anyone thought negatively of it. I was going to do it because I was doing it for the right reasons, and I was doing it to help people.
So how has your life changed since becoming a coach?
Since becoming a coach? Oh my gosh. So I guess I'll start with one of my favorite things, which is just the people that coaching has brought into my life. So other than Stephanie, everyone on our team I would have never met. Had it not been for coaching. And I think that as we get older, it becomes really hard sometimes. You get done with school, you get done with college, if you happen to be a person who's gone to college or grad school, you get out into the workforce, and it's really hard to find those people that you really mesh with, right? You have a couple, maybe if you're lucky, high school or college friends that have stuck around. But other than that, it's just so hard to find someone who is like-minded and driven and wants to succeed in life. And that's what coaching really offered me. I keep this picture that is from our recent trip to New Orleans that you guys can't even see. That's full of people that are on our team that I would have never met. And so the relationships are a huge part. But for me, I work in the animal health field. And so it's really hard for me to really connect one-on-one with people and help them, because I work in a lab. I don't work directly with customers. I don't work directly, with animals. And so for me, coaching was something that really fulfilled that passion and that drive in life, that I wanted to be able to help people one-on-one. And I didn't really know how to do that. And so for me, that's one of the things coaching brought. And then, the other side that, we always have to give the disclaimer, right? That every single coach and their success, whether that's, financially or whether that's fitness wise, it's all depends upon what you choose to do with coaching or what you choose to do with your fitness journey, right? There's no guarantees. It's based on your work. And the biggest thing, I think, for me, outside of the relationships and outside of this passion and drive that I have for life, is what I've been able to do with it financially. So I have this, piece of paper that I'll talk about in a second that stays on my desk every day. But when I started coaching 2 years ago, I had $12,000 to $14,000 in credit card debt that I had accumulated since grad school. I was paying like $600 a month on those, and they weren't going anywhere, right? Because interest is ridiculous. And at that point, I had probably about $35,000 in student loan debt. And so one of the things that's just amazing is how I really learned to snowball my income using my coaching income as an extra source of income in doing that. So I started, and I took all of my coaching earnings, and I made my regular credit card payments, and I plugged those on one credit card. And when that credit card got paid off, thanks to the extra money from coaching, that I plugged that all on a second credit card. When that got done, I plugged it all on a third. And then about a year into coaching, all of that credit card debt was gone. I paid my car off about 3-4 months early because I was able to do that because I didn't have those credit cards. And then, the thing I decided to start tackling next was my student loan debt. Most people take anywhere from 15 to 25 years to pay off student loans. And when I first graduated, I had about $45,000 in student loan debt. And then by the time coaching came around into my life, I had $35,000 left. And in the last year or so alone, I've been able to pay off a good chunk of that, about, I would say $18,000 to $20,000. And so now I'm left with about $10,000 in student loan debt. That's it. And I plan to pay that off by June 1st, of this coming year. So it's really just been a blessing in so many ways. I've done personal development thanks to coaching. I've been able to help people. I've been able to help our family financially. We paid for an entire trip for a whole week to Hawaii about a year ago. And I did that because I had that extra income, because I paid those credit cards off debt-free. It was the first debt-free vacation I'd taken in my life. And now, I have this lovely pay it off thing that it's got 3 check marks left. 2 of those are student loans, and one of them is a bad ass, I'll just say it, an awesome celebratory vacation that I'm going to take for paying all that off early. And I could not have done that. I wouldn't have had the thought process or the mindset to think, I can pay all that off in 2 to 3 years before coaching. I would have never thought that in a million years. So, those are just a few of the things that I've gained from it. But honestly, it's changed my life so completely that I can't even really put it into words.
It's so awesome. I love every time you tell your story, because it's just it encompasses everything of just a true transformation, physically, financially, mentally, changing your aspect and your outlook on life. And I love it. So I'm gonna not spend too much time on my story because I wanted to keep this short tonight. And I love Kaylee's story, so I'm glad she got in real deep with you. If we've never met, my name's Stephanie Lane, and I am a wife to an awesome IT tech. He works at a university in the state that I live in and does wizardry stuff that I don't understand. We have 4 amazing kids that are busy. And by busy, I mean they are in everything. And when I first got introduced to health and fitness, I was getting ready for my wedding, which I said. And I worked to lose about 30 pounds with a workout program called Turbo Fire. And like Kaylee, it was the first time in my whole life something had actually worked. And it was just healthy eating and fitness. Who knew? Crazy, huh? And like Kaylee, I had tried crazy things. I had tried like a pill that made me feel like garbage. I had tried, low carb and, just whatever I could do other than working out and eating healthy. And when I finally did that, I actually got in shape. Before becoming a full-time stay-at-home working coach mom, I was a school teacher. And so at the time we had 2 kids. I was a full-time teacher. My husband was a full-time IT tech, and kids are in activities. We were busy, and I just felt like there had to be more. We were scraping by, but working full-time. And I know so many other people feel the same way. And, I had student loans, and we had car payments, and we had mortgage payments. And I just felt like there just had to be more than just paying bills in life. I had such great results with Turbo Fire, which is not required before you become a coach, but it plays into my story because I was on Instagram talking about my love of Turbo Fire. And that's where I connected with my coach and mentor, Lindsay, because she was a Turbo Kick instructor, which is the class version of Turbo Fire. I was really, really snooping on what she was doing. I saw she was doing all these fun things, and she was paying off debt, and her and her husband were going on these trips. And I'm like, what the heck is she doing? And she invited me to coaching. And without even hesitating, I jumped in. We all have fears. Of course, I was afraid. I was like, is this some sort of scam? Is this for real? What am I getting myself into? Is everybody going to judge me? But at the same time, I had so many hopes and dreams that I was like, I just want to try. I just want to say, at least I can look back and say, well, that didn't work. Other than like, well, what if that worked? So once I signed up to become a coach, I was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right. And I jumped all in. And because I went all in and I was consistent, I wasn't doing it some days and not doing it other days, we were able to, like Kaylee, pay off debt, take our kids to Disney World. I really like to follow Dave Ramsey, and he has those baby steps of having savings, of paying off debt, of, working with your retirement, and really setting up your life so that it's not pay bills and die, so that you can live your life. And because I worked smart and paid off debt first, I was then able to walk away from my full-time teaching job without fear. Not everybody wants to work from home, and that's okay. I didn't think I would ever want to either. But when the opportunity presented itself, we had just had our fourth child, Evelyn, the little one in pink. I thought, how cool would it be if I was the preschool mom? And I got to make cookies for the Halloween party, which I did for Lily. Her little Halloween preschool parties in a couple weeks. And we get to go on the field trips. And what if I was there every day when the kids got home from school, rather than them getting this washed down, stressed out version of me after I got out of a full day of work, to rush them to their activities, to eat fast food, to fall asleep exhausted, to repeat it the next day again. And that, for me, that was my struggle I wanted to get out of. So now I wake up with my husband, we work out. I still get up early because that's the time we get to spend together. I work on our health and fitness, and then I'm there with the kids to get them up, to get them ready for school, to enjoy them. That for me, that was like, there has to be some other way, and this is what I wanted. So coaching can be whatever you want it to be. You can kind of build your dream life, but we're here to help you see a bigger picture and see how being a coach doesn't mean you have to have a six-pack abs, but it's about being a healthier person and helping other people be healthier too, and just leading that example. I'm going to hit escape here real quick. Oh, good. So I made that short enough. I'm going to stop the share. Here we go. Hi, guys. And so Kaylee and I have a little invitation for you. And then if you guys have any questions, we're here for you if you have any questions about anything. Basically, the invitation is to decide if you are a 1, a 2, or a 3. So a 1 would be, wow, that was a really great story, but it's just not for me. And that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just glad you got to hear these, especially Kaylee's amazing story. 2 is, I'm interested, but I'm not sure yet. Maybe I have some questions. Maybe I want to try one of those programs. And that's where you should reach out to the person that invited you and say, hey, these are my questions, or hey, I really want to try that program. Get me in your challenge group. Or you're number 3 and you're like, yes, I love this. Get me signed up. And if that's the case, then reach out to the person that invited you and tell them so, because they will show you how you can jump into this amazing community that we have. Yeah, Kaylee, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when we get done, if you guys have questions, then we can stop the recording portion. You can ask your questions without fear of it ending up on YouTube.
Yes, true. And I'm going to stop the recording.